Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Masters of Self University podcast. I'm your host, Ellie Lee.
I'm your host, Morley.
And today it may get a little TMI, it may get a little bit personal into my health life, but we're all human and we all poop. So we're going to go into the chapter of my health and my gut today. And I hope this is an episode that can help a lot of you out there who are experiencing any kind of ailments or long-term pain in certain areas in your life. For me, my story starts very young. Ever since I was a little kid, I always had immense issues with my digestive system. And as a kid, I would go up to my parents, and every time I ate something, I would just feel all of this pain in my stomach. And after a while, my dad would start making fun of me that I was always a complainer, and my mom would roll her eyes. And, it became kind of like this ongoing joke. And so as a little girl, I learned, well, what I'm feeling and what I'm going through doesn't actually matter. It's not really a big deal to anybody. So I guess I just have to live with this and suck it up. And over the years, it just got progressively worse and worse and worse. And I remember when I was in high school, when I was in 8th grade, I literally fainted in English class. And they had to send me to the ER because I hadn't gone to the bathroom in 14 days. So the issues around my digestive system are this. I cannot digest in the way that normal people do. How do I know this? Because I witnessed normal people in my life digest every single day, and I knew that my body didn't function that way. It was as if every time food hit like my mouth and went into my body, it's always been a very, very uncomfortable experience for me. And not to mention that I don't go to the bathroom. So that was my entire life experience, was that I just had a really hard time going to the bathroom. It did not come naturally. I remember when people would tell me like I go twice a day or I go once a day. That was so alarming to me because I don't go for 7 days. I don't go for 8 days. I don't go for 9 days. And so I've always felt like I've been in this very torturous existence because of the pain that I've experienced in my gut. And so growing up, I went to like every gastroenterologist. I went to every doctor. I went to everybody, anything and everything the Western medicine world had for me, I did. I ate the vegetables. It was recommended to me one time that I eat 26 prunes a day, and the normal person only has to eat 7 prunes a day because that would make them go to the bathroom. And even that didn't make me go to the bathroom. And so I did all of these things and no one could find out, what was wrong with me. And so I decided after a while, what I solidified in my reality was this is just my life. And these are the issues that I have, and it's never going to change. Okay. Fast forward to starting this work and working with Fiori and everything like that, where I started to go deeper into my gut. So when I started this work, I also simultaneously started getting off antidepressants because I had realized, if you listen to any of the episodes, that I was on antidepressants because I was so afraid to feel what was in there. And so I naturally weaned off of them. And then the last 3 years has been the journey of just really clearing all of that stuff out of my system. And since I've been doing the real work, I have started to open up what is actually going on in my gut. And so all of my life, it's been massive suppression. I've ignored it. I've just, shitted on myself. I've gone through periods where I would be in so much pain. I would like punch my stomach and I would just yell at my stomach and I would shit on my body and I would shame myself and I would judge myself. And if you ask Danny, like he makes, cutely makes fun of me because I'm always in sweats because all I ever feel comfortable in is really baggy and loose clothing because of how much pain I'm in at all times. And so especially in the last 2 years, 3 years specifically, the amount of different kinds of pain that I have experienced in my gut has been nothing like I've ever experienced before in my life. I experience pain from feeling like I have huge pieces of sharp wood in my stomach to feeling like there is a fire that is lighting my entire system up to just the most like excruciating cramps. Like it's all kinds of stuff. But because I was so gaslit and I was so ignored as a kid, what I do now is I never speak about it. I never talk about it. And so Danny, obviously being my partner, and I'm sure you can talk, about this. When he asked me, how's my gut? It's always very short. Like I'll say something like, oh, yeah, it's not good today. And I won't ever continue speaking about anything because I run all these programs of nobody cares. It's not a big deal. I'm a complainer. Okay. So Fiori started to tap a little bit into my gut. And I could tell from the beginning that there was some indication that I had to really go on a journey of understanding and unpacking and really breaking down what is happening in my gut. Like what's going on. And the first time she ever did some energetic work with me around it, it was, and there's a podcast on this, but what she felt and what she saw was that there is just no flow in my gut that's happening. It was as if, every cell in your body is a soul. And it was like mostly all those souls in my digestive system were gone. And it was just like vacant. And nothing was going on there. And so that started to help me to go on the path of, well, let me listen to what this pain is saying to me. Okay. As I started listening to what the pain was saying to me, it all started obviously going back to my mother, my father, right? It was all of this pain around them that I've taken in for all of my life, right? And so I've spoken about this a lot, but like my mother and I had a very unhealthy relationship. There was a lot of different levels of abuse there, and I was very meshed with her. And so I was always a kid that just would swallow everything. So because I was enmeshed with her and because I was with her all the time and because the abuse was frequent and it was all kinds of abuse and all these things, all of my life, all I've ever learned how to do is take everything in and hold it in. And I never said a word about it. I never expressed it to anybody. I never let it out. I never got any kind of nurturing or comfort or anything around her and our relationship. And so even looking back, there was just so much coldness there. But when you're enmeshed, you don't know that what you're experiencing is what you're experiencing because, well, she's actually physically always there, right? So in my very, disconnected, unaware, very needy little girl world, I think, well, it's love because mom's always there, right? And now looking back, none of that, it was actually love. We were just very unhealthy. There was a lot of unhealthy enmeshment. So now that I'm doing the work and all this pain is coming up, I have been running so many unconscious programs around my gut. It's as if I just don't want to deal with it. It's been especially the last 2 years, it's been, I just want this to go away. I just don't want to deal with what's happening here because I don't understand what's happening here. And every time I go in a little bit, it's my physical reality is that I don't go to the bathroom. I'm in constant pain. So so I run all these programs of hopelessness, like nothing ever helps. Nothing's ever going to be right. It's never going to get fixed. How is this ever going to happen if I don't know a life that I've never experienced a life where I'm not in pain. So it's all hopeless. Okay. And so around like 7 months ago, I had an appointment with this physician who's going to be a mystical professor at our university. And in our first consultation, he basically, as he's intuitively tapping into me, he was suggesting to me that I find a craniosacral therapist, which I've heard a lot of people tell me in the past year. But, because I run programs, I just ignore everything. And he told me something really interesting. He said to me, you need to be touched. And he's like, and not by your partner. And it cannot be a sexual touch. He's like, you need to be touched by someone that is going to give you basically what you so lacked as a child. I want you to do saunas and I want you to do red light therapy and I want you to do all of these things that are going to make you feel that nurturing and that warmth. And when I heard that, I was like, yeah, but that's not going to heal the pain, right? And so I ignored it. And the pain just kept getting progressively worse. And then finally, I started taking this quantum energetics class this year. And that was the wake-up call that I needed because now we're being taught how to quantum jump into a reality where it is our most abundant wealth reality, right? And every time I'm taking one of these classes or we're quantum jumping, the only reality that I'm quantum jumping into is a reality where I am living a life where I am pain-free from my stomach, where I can wear jeans, where I don't have to wake up in the morning and revolve my entire mood and my outfit and what I'm going to feel throughout the day around my gut, because I'm constantly waking up in so much pain, right? It's anytime I put anything into my body, there's massive pain. And so the quantum jump is to live a life where I am free of all of that. Okay. So as I'm quantum jumping into this, I start realizing and understanding, if I truly want to create this reality, I must take the action steps to create this reality. So it's go time. So I started hitting up all these craniosacral doctors, and everyone I spoke to, it just didn't hit. And for those of you who don't know what craniosacral is, it's like, I can't explain it to you, but it's basically it's a gentle touch. And there's a lot of what I see energetics involved. There's a lot of intuitiveness involved. And so it's really important who your doctor is in that sense. And so finally I got on a call with this one woman. And as soon as I spoke to her, she was integrous and she felt solid to me. And I only wanted a woman. And I was like, this is it. I'm going to go, even if it's expensive, like I'm going to invest in myself this year. So I went to a session with her a few weeks ago. And what happened in that hour and a half with her was nothing short of amazing. And in the session alone, when she put her hand on me, I wanted to cry. And it's making me emotional talking about it, because when she touched me on my head, when she was touching me on my spine, when she had her hand on my gut, it was what that physician was talking about. You need to be touched. But what was beautiful about this experience was there is an energetic detachment in the touch, right? It's not this, I need it, I want it. It's not sexual. There's no agenda to it. It's this person that is coming completely from, I'm here to help you, and I'm here to be of selfless service to you. And my goal to you and for you is for you to get better. And because of that energy, it allowed me to feel what her hands were doing on my body, right? And it was nothing major. It was so slight. And I was getting so emotional and it started bringing all of these memories back about how unnurturing and how cold my upbringing was with my mother, right? Even though my dad was loving and he was affectionate, my dad wasn't home a lot. And so with my mom particularly, like that's what I lacked so much coldness. So in this, and Danny, I know I'm 12 minutes in and I'm talking a lot, but in the session alone, she went through this entire thing, and in the hour and a half, I felt so much. I saw visions, and I had waves of energy moving through me. And when I got out of it, I was like completely high, and I was like, whoa, that was nuts. And she sat down with me and she basically verified everything that Fiori has seen in me. And what she saw was basically that there is no flow from my spinal cord, the top of my spine down to my feet. The energy flow stops right underneath my breast. And then it starts again in my legs, but in my whole gut area, nothing's there. And what she saw in a vision it was like an empty cathedral. It was just complete like desertedness, blackness, no life at all, nothing. And she saw and felt that there was this huge protective barrier around that entire area. And there was this huge knot entanglement at the top of my spinal cord. And so her thing was, your gut is the symptom, but where did the tree fall that's causing this lack of flow to happen? And so she started working with my body, and my body was testing her, being like, who are you? Don't come near me. Like, we don't trust you, kind of thing. And so in her, work and all of her experience, she navigated through all of that. And then by the end of the session, she started seeing life come in the cathedral, and she started seeing vines starting to form all throughout my body. And so now with that work and with all the quantum energetic work that we're doing and all of the things that I'm saying and all the programs that I'm seeing that have blocked me, I'm experiencing a whole new type of experience now when it comes to my gut. So I'll stop there for the first part and then we'll get into the second part. But to get to this place has been quite the trek. And I know that I'm just starting on my journey, but it's been fascinating and very eye-opening. And I'm learning like, wow, this is what I had to be doing the whole time. I was just running so many programs that was blocking this from coming to fruition.
And what is it like for now you to just kind of share this? Because this isn't something that you like to talk about.
There's a sense of I'm ready to talk about it because I'm doing something about it now. I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and however long this journey takes is however long it's going to take. But now I feel like for the first time, okay, I've got everything set, and now it's time for me to just completely follow through and do what I need to do to really create the reality that I've already merged with. Right? I'm just walking the path. It's already existing that I'm living the rest of my life pain free. I'm just doing all of the actionable steps now to really have that be solidified in my physical reality.
And when was it that you experienced this reality where you can go to the bathroom freely?
So now that I'm seeing this craniosacral doctor, I'm also seeing a chiropractor. I'm investing in a chiropractor who's going to help me with my spine. And I did all these x-rays, and this woman was like, okay, this is why there's no movement in your digestive system. Like my entire spine is curved and my pelvis is out and it's all these things. And so I'm investing in that as well. And then doing all the quantum jumping and really going to the programs of hopelessness and helplessness, and it's never going to change, and it's never going to get better than this is what it is. And understanding truly that I truly am the creator of my reality. All of our programs create our reality. So when you say and you consent to your programs, you are creating a reality that you're consenting to time and time again. And when you sit there and you go, I'm not consenting to this, I would never create this, you are. And the moment you start to accept that, and the moment you start to go, all right, it's time for me to take responsibility because I want to create something new, is when you truly understand what it means to be the creator, right? And obviously, we're learning right now that we are the creator, the observer, and the experiencer. And so, this entire journey, what I've been allowing myself to do is really become the observer of these programs. So, before, when my programs were run, because it's not like I'm pain free right now, right? My stomach is still moving through a lot, and there's a lot of different pains that are coming up, but I'm not attached to it anymore. So I don't go into this whole thing of like, my life is so miserable and everything sucks, and like, oh, and like shitting on everything and hating my life and like looking at my stomach. I'm learning to detach from it and just observe what's going on, what's running here, and what needs my love. And when I say certain things to myself now, what's the energy behind then what I'm saying? Something that I'm saying to myself every single day, 3 times a day, is I am the power that heals myself. And if it's bullshit when I say that, I got some work to do. But when I say that I am the power that heals myself, I feel that to be so true. I know it to be true because I know that that's what I'm doing for myself right now. And so things like those are all the things that I'm doing right now to really start to dismantle and unravel and really go into everything that's here.
And having that, obviously, that it's a self-realization that, oh, I am the creator.
Mm-hmm.
I am the one that's creating these programs, which is leading to, this experience that I'm having. That is the process of self-realization that we're all on, working through MSU, is to realize what we are. One of the things that Rachel always used to say in our, certification classes, remember the truth of what you are. And that's the journey we're on. And obviously that is a process, and you and I can probably speak for us, we're not all the way there yet, and that's okay. But was there, especially within the last period, like little window of time, was there a significant shift, or was there something which led to a shift which allowed you to feel that I am the creator of this reality?
Yeah, I mean, this quantum energetics class has been massive for me in that sense. Because, okay, so there was this particular situation that me and Danny went through recently where I brought a foster dog home from the shelter. And this foster dog being in our household, and one of our dogs has a lot of trauma that he's still experiencing and working through. And bringing this new energy into the house caused a very brutal and unfortunate incident in our home where our dogs fought. And after that traumatic experience, and I was sitting with all of it, I realized my programs just created this reality. So my programs of irresponsibility, of impulsivity, my savior programs, all of these things just created a reality where 2 of my dogs just got hurt because of the programs that I was running. That was a huge wake up call to see, oh, I'm constantly creating from what I'm running. That was the wake up call for me in that sense. That really opened my eyes to what it means to be the creator. Okay. And then moving that into the gut thing, I'm only going to create what I'm running. So if I'm running programs of my stomach's never going to get better, it's all hopeless, my gut is always going to be shit, I'm always bloated, then how and why else how dare I yearn for a reality where I'm not like that, where all I'm creating is that, right? And this goes back to, and I still don't even understand the magnitude of this yet, right? I still don't understand this yet, but that's how powerful we are, right? Because all I've ever known is that I've created a reality where it's really sucked. I've created a very shitty reality for myself all of my life. And I'm like, well, why would I want to create that? Right. And now we know through the teachings and stuff like that, well, we're enslaved and, this all the blah, 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 whatever. So if I could create a shitty reality like that, what can I create when I'm actually connected to my power? What can I really create when I see all the programs that are running? And so this is real. All of those things start to align and click together. And now I'm like, oh, okay. So let's transform these programs because I'm tired of this old reality where I'm in pain constantly. So let's create a new reality where this no longer exists. And, something that I want to share too is the past 3 nights. This is very unusual for me. I want to preface this by saying this is very unusual for me. I woke up in the middle of the night 3 nights ago and I had crazy diarrhea. And I had diarrhea all night. Then the next night I had diarrhea the whole night. And then yesterday all day I had diarrhea all day. And when I tell you that is so unusual for me, okay? And at first, my mind was trying to make sense of this diarrhea. Was it the fact that I did a 5-day juice cleanse and I ate and I was like, that doesn't feel right. Was it this? Was it that? Did I eat something wrong? Did I get a bug? It was all of these things. And then finally on the 3rd day, I was like, I actually think this is something different. And I told Danny, obviously, and he was like, this feels good to me. He's like, I know that it's painful, but this feels really good to me. And then that day we were in quantum energetics and we were all sharing. And I said, what's really different in my reality right now, because if you guys ever take the class quantum energetics after you quantum jump, what she teaches you is what's different in your physical reality. And so I shared what's different in my reality is that I'm diarrheaing explosively and insanely. And what Fiori beautifully tapped into was that I'm now in surrender. I am in the way of surrender. I'm allowing myself to flow with life. And I have been so resistant to this life. I have been resistant to being here on this planet. I've been resistant to this lifetime. I've been resistant to the fact that I had a mother that was who she was. I hated my upbringing. I hated so many things. I just hated this life. And when you're living a life of resistance, think about what that's creating in your gut. And because I'm holding everything in my gut, now I'm surrendering and now there's flow. And she was teaching us about how, it will show up figuratively in your reality where you will start to flow. And so that was really eye-opening and beautiful for me to see, because I am really surrendering to all of this and I'm learning to detach, and I'm in the process of just starting to really, really see everything that's happened in my life, everything I've experienced, my mother, all of it was here for the greatest path that I'm on. And so it was so expansive for me. And also just, it keeps revving me up to constantly stay on this path to really create in this physicality the version of me that is pain-free.
Yeah, I mean, I think we would all like to live a life that's pain-free. I think that goes, without saying. Who would want to choose to live a life of physical pain?
Yeah.
Brutal. Who would want to choose a life to not be able to go to the bathroom? I mean, it's such a fundamental part of human life is, hopefully it's something that you do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And for me, that's never something I've struggled with. So I've obviously taken that for granted my whole life. And these are obviously, going to the bathroom is such an unconscious thing that we do. And when I say unconscious, I don't mean that in any negative way. obviously it's something that we're not conscious about. It happens automatically. It's part of our unconscious, bodily functions that we shouldn't have to think about. Oh, you don't spend 20 minutes going, okay, well, let me sit down here and digest this food and think about all the little things I have to do, right? It just happens naturally. And so when we think about that, and then, oh yeah, and then internally, if in my unconscious or my subconscious, there's all this internal resistance, of course, then the bodily functions that are running unconsciously, it's going to impede there. I just think it's quite incredible to go, your whole life with just not being able to do this just fundamental human thing of just
Yeah.
using the bathroom. I mean, like, think back to it's got to be one of the first things, like, you come out of the womb. I'm sure as soon as you come out, you go into the bathroom and just not. I'm sure you did as a baby in certain times, but just growing up all throughout your life, having this constant thing of just not being able to process. And then I know that's something we spoke about a lot, like process life. Like this was one of your core wounds, is like you couldn't digest life. You didn't like it down here in this particular incarnation, in this dimension, this density.
Yeah, I had someone say to me, I can feel in your fields this shock of, oh, I didn't know it was going to be like this, which is so fascinating to me because I know that I'm a very old soul and I've been here for a very long time. But I think there was something particularly about this lifetime where I came in and I was like, oh. And so what just came to me was, I feel like I've been a prisoner all of my life in this particular lifetime. And the ironic part is that it's because I've imprisoned myself. The resistance to this life has created so much suffering, and I've created all of that for me, right? And this entire health journey that I'm on, and all the things that are going in with my gut, I know that it's very multi-layered. Danny and I are two people where we definitely hold a lot of trauma in our gut. Like, people hold trauma in different areas. For me, for sure, it's in my digestive area. And so I just know that as I keep unraveling all of this and I keep going into it and I go deeper into the layers of all of this, I am so in the knowing that I am on the path of freedom and I am on the path of health and flow, and being able to poop twice a day is the dream, and it is happening. Because when you have so many issues and pain in your body, that's where all of your focus goes to constantly. It distracts me. It fucks me up in so many ways. It veers me off the path. It spirals me into all of this self-shame and self-judgment. And not to mention, like, I grew up with a lot of body shaming. And so the fact that, like, I'm always bloated and I'm always this, like, I run all these programs of, like, you're fat, like, you're disgusting. And, like, obviously that's a part of, like, what my soul came here to heal, is all of this body shaming and how much I've done that to myself as well. And so it is very exciting for me to be able to be walking this path right now and to be doing what I'm doing and taking the steps to do what I need to do for myself. And there was one more thing that I wanted to share. That whole thing that you said about, like, not being able to digest. I remember I was telling Fiori one time where, if you guys know anything about astrology, basically your sixth house in your chart, it's ruled by Virgo, and Virgo is all about the physical body, and the sixth house is all about your physical health and all kinds of stuff. And I have my moon in Virgo in that house, and that's all about, like, digestive issues and things like that. I remember sharing that with Fiori, and she was like, what just came in was, you just can't digest this life, like you just said. And that's been my whole thing, is like, I just can't digest this place. Like, I've just hated this place. And I've lived my entire life wanting to just get to the end of it, which is not living at all, right? It's not living at all. And so now that I'm actually learning what it means to live, now that I have so much to look forward to, now that I'm actually on the path and I'm in alignment, it's so exciting for me to be on that vibration and not on what I've been for so long. And I am so grateful because there was this teaching in class the other day where she was talking about some people their souls will be like, let's just heal this instantaneously right now. And then other souls will be like, no, 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 she needs to go on the path of going on a journey of healing her gut because there's so much for her to learn. There's so much for her to alchemize. There's so many soul lessons that need to be learned. And for me, that's true for me. Like on this path of my gut, like I could have an amazing healer come in and heal, but my soul was like, there's too much for you to learn. And so how could I have learned anything if I just had someone instantaneously heal me? Right? The path that I'm on is I have to learn the intricacies and all the programs that I run, all the lessons, all because there's been so many, so far. Right. And that's what I need to learn. And when I learn that, I will start becoming, and there will be so much wisdom that I will gain and integrate as I do. And I am completely in surrender and honoring of that. Because the quick fix to me feels icky. Like I don't want the quick fix. I don't want the easy way out. I want to learn what I need to learn. I want to go through what I need to go through. And I want to be in complete way of surrender. And while I'm doing what I'm doing. And so if it takes however long, it takes however long. But I'm in this place right now where I'm very much in gratitude and I'm thankful. And I'm really, 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 just pumped to see every day as it goes by, what this is going to look like for me.
Yeah, most people aren't actually ready for a miracle to happen because we need to learn the lesson. And she was explaining all of this for some beautiful teachings. I was in the same class as Ellie, and going into the fact that most people yes, they want to be healed instantly, but the actual process of healing is learning why I'm creating this in the first place.
Yeah.
And for me, similar thing with resistance, but it doesn't show up in the same way in my body. It shows up in my body as tension. And that's something that I've been, since starting this work, something opened up inside of me, and it's been slowly but surely unwinding. My body's been unwinding and releasing all this tension and density that's been in there, that I can feel now. If I, for example, if I switch into too much of a sympathetic nervous system state, I start to recreate the tension in my body starts to get tight again. It's like I wind everything back up, and then I have to work on unwinding and loosening everything off inside myself. And obviously to just go to somebody and have them take away all the tension, I'll just recreate it if I haven't learned why it's there in the first place.
Yes.
And as she, taught in that class, there are some people that can receive the miracle and do need the miracle. Just where we're going, into oneness, this journey, it's all about gaining that gift of wisdom. And so I just see that whole world of going to a healer to take away my pain and save me is obviously that's all going. But now you're moving to this beautiful period after studying, the foundational work of how do I awaken to my programs? How do I alchemize? How do I actually transform the energy that's in here? Now it's okay, I'm ready to start layering in the healing modalities of craniosacral therapy, chiropractor. I know you're going to the gym now. And if we just rely on those external kind of modalities at the beginning of our healing journey, then that becomes our way out of pain. That becomes our way to experience healing. Instead of, obviously, hopefully you've listened to Ellie's story today and you've took in what she shared. That was this beautiful session was a catalyst for then the rest of the work to keep going and unfolding. It would be really easy for somebody to go to a session like that and then come out of the session and then just continue in the cycle and the loop of this is never going to work, it's never going to heal. And then obviously when you go into to work with somebody like that, then that's what you're going to experience. You're going to experience that, oh, this isn't this doesn't work, because you're creating that in your reality. And that's why the work that we offer here, the work that we do, is so foundational to this process of healing. But it's never about, oh, we'll never do any other healing modality ever again.
Yes.
It's learn this work first, master the energetics within inside yourself, and then start to layer these things in. And that's what's going to unlock everything from the right place.
Yes. And here's one of the things I've just learned is we are the power that heals ourselves, right? But when you grow up in the upside down world, it's constantly, I need somebody to help me heal. I need somebody. And that's not black or white, right? It's not, because we all go into duality of like, it's either this or it's either that, right? And I went into the duality of like, I don't need any modalities. I got this. And it's like, no, Ellie, like that's not how it works. I do the work that I need to do for myself. I am the power that heals myself. And as I'm doing that, right, in oneness, here comes a beautiful physician. Here comes a beautiful chiropractor who is touching me in the ways that only a person outside of me could be that healing piece that I need as I'm doing the work on myself. Because when my craniosacral doctor touched me, I wanted to cry because it felt so loving, right? And it felt like something that I never got. So as she's doing her part and I'm doing my part in oneness together, we are healing, right? And that was huge for me because all we ever know is we need them to heal. It's never we're doing the work on ourselves. And it's crucial that no, you're doing the work on you. You are becoming the power that you need to heal. You are the creator that knows that you can create a reality that experiences the flow and the this and the that. And then here comes this beautiful being that is the bonus to this. And here's this, the bonus. And it's beautiful. And it's just teaching me so much. And I'm so grateful for it. And I so look forward to the episode when I come in. I'm like, guys, I'm pooping 3 times a day. I am free. I've got no pain. And here's how I got here, because I know that this is a very crucial part of my path. And I know that what I experience and what I move through, I will be able to help many people because I lived through it and I got to the end of it.
Yeah, and let's just spend a few more moments just touching on this beautiful craniosacral therapist that you went to go see, because the first thing that I want to say is, because obviously I was here for this whole process. You tried multiple others. You jumped on a call with a few other people, and you found one that was a little closer and a lot cheaper.
Yes.
A lot cheaper.
Yeah.
And then you found this one, this particular lady who you work with, but she was maybe 2-3 times more expensive.
Yes.
And you were nearly not going to go with her.
Yes.
Why?
Yes. Because she was too much money. And so I'm still working through my programs around money. Because I tend to be very frugal, and I grew up with a lot of scarcity and lack from my father and like constant fear that we don't have enough. And so I've absorbed all of that programming. And so for me, I'm always very hesitant to spend money on things and invest in myself. And it takes a lot of work for me to go, Ellie, what are you doing and what programs are you running right now? Because your soul is guiding you to this person or to this program or to this experience, and you're running your shit and you're about to sabotage yourself. And so when I got on a call with her, my soul went, this is it. And she told me the price. I was like, that is crazy. Like I would never. And I was telling Danny, because the phone call before her was this guy and I didn't feel him at all. And he was like, listen, if you can't afford my prices, we can do a donation base. Like, just give me what you can afford. And my programs were like, yeah, that's what we want. But my soul was like, this is not it. And so when I got on the call with her and I heard her price, I was like, ooh. And I told her, I was like, give me tonight and I'll tell you tonight. And I was just so triggered all night going back and forth because I was in my mind. I was in my mind of running all of my programs, and I didn't contact her that night because she had a slot that opened. She was booked, but she had a slot that opened in 2 days, and I had basically that night to make a decision, and I didn't. And then the next morning I was working through it, and my friend texted me. My friend and I share a note together, and because we're both in quantum energetics, and she wrote, what is the reality that I want to create? And when I read that, I heard my soul go, see? And I picked up the phone and I called the craniosacral doctor, and I was like, I'll take your 11:30 on Saturday. And she goes, it just got filled up. And I was like, oh my God, this is what happens, Ellie, when you don't listen. And then 2 minutes later, she goes, but my 9:30 just opened up. She's like, so I'll put you in there. I'm like, wow. And this is just a beautiful example of how much your mind and your programs come in and sabotage what your soul is calling you to do.
Yeah. And when we choose to live from the mind, probably not knowing what we're doing, that's what you're going to experience. Is all right. It's not to say that you might not have had a beautiful experience with this other person. Maybe not. You don't know. Obviously, we don't know. But clearly, the massive benefit and the huge, connection that you've had with this. You've only had one session with her, and obviously,
we're BFFs.
So much has happened since then, right? It
Yeah.
feels incredibly aligned. You had such a great session. It's like when we choose to live from our mind, we close ourselves off from the magic. And when we choose to actually live from the heart and listen to our soul, that's when things start to unfold in a much more mystical, magical way. And you get to have these incredible experiences, all the synchronicities and the healing that happens is obviously just exponential.
Yeah.
And obviously the only reason why you can tell the difference is because you have this framework to go back to I'm triggered. Let me go back. What programs am I running right now that are causing me to be trapped in my mind and not know what to do?
Yep.
And as you move through the process, and this is exactly what we teach you, is you move through the process on how to identify what is actually happening right now and where is my soul trying to guide me?
Yeah.
Because our mind, it likes to think it knows, and it's often trying to pull us in a different direction to where our soul wants to go.
That's it.
So if you want to enroll into our summer semester, we are currently signing up for pre-enrollment right now. It's going to be in May of 2025. So we're going to be enrolling everyone in April. So please go to our website, mastersofselfuniversity.com, hit the university enrollment and sign up for pre-enrollment right now if you want to learn how to do exactly what Ellie just did so you can heal and align with your soul. So thank you very much, everyone, for listening. We'll see you in the next podcast. Till then, bye.